Whether you have an assistant right now or you are the assistant, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is going to be basically how to make sure that things don't fall through the cracks. Hi there and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now my goal is that at this video is to be able to walk you through the process of how to be able to delegate tasks effectively and efficiently to your assistant. Now if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lai Lacaba. I've been working remotely since I was 15 years old and now run my own assistant outsourcing business here in the Philippines. And I post videos on how to have an online career every Sunday and videos on how to have an online business every Thursday. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Delegating to assistants is a topic that I am actually very well versed. Aside from the fact that I've had assistants in the last 5 years, my agency is literally hiring and growing assistants for our clients. And even before this, I was going around in Asia teaching people how to be able to work with your assistant in the best way. So you have to make sure that you watch until the end of this video on how to give tasks to your assistant, because this does stack one after the other. The process that I go through, and I've taught a lot of our clients on how to make sure that things actually get done. Whether you have an assistant right now or you are the assistant, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is going to be basically how to make sure that things don't fall through the crack. Now the first thing that you want to make sure that you have set up is a capture system. Now what I mean by a capture system, and this is coming from the book Getting Things Done by David Allen, you want to have one place that you can easily put in tasks that you think about, tasks, ideas, or projects. So in the book Getting Things Done, one of the main things that it teaches is your brain is not meant for storing, it's meant for creating. So what I mean by having a way to capture your ideas, your thoughts, the tasks, the projects that you have is you're making sure that from you, the things that is given to your assistant or you want to do yourself even is written down somewhere. Now you can use a lot of different tools. There's of course Notion, and I have a whole video on how I use Notion right here. There's also just putting it on a post-it. There's also putting it on probably software that you're using right now for note-taking. The idea behind this is you want to make it as seamless as possible for you to have ideas maybe while you're taking a run, maybe while you're watching a YouTube video, and be able to implement them later on. For myself, my capture is actually just my work notebook. So what I do is I have a shared work notebook with my assistant, and anytime that I write something in red, she knows that those are ideas or things that I want to take action on later. Especially when I'm in a meeting, when I'm talking to a client or a potential client and I write something down in red, she knows that that should be moved into our capture system. Now our capture system is basically from the digital notebook that I have, which we use OneNote. She then moves it into my Notion area, which then is going to be my task database, which brings me to the next step, which is then having a task database, having one place where you can keep a record of all the things that you want to get done and the things that are done inside of your business. Now the tool that I found the best for this is actually going to be Notion, which I probably will say Notion a couple times in this video just because I have gone through so many others. I've gone through Evernote, I've gone through Trello, I've gone through ClickUp, and so far Notion really makes it so easy for me at least to be able to track all of the tasks that I want to get done. So once my assistant moves everything from my capture notebook or my work notebook into Notion, I have another basically bucket or capture portion inside of my Notion. Then once it's moved into your task database, you'll be able to easily track where the tasks are, if they've been there for too long or if they've been actually done already but they were actually checked off. So the task database has to just be super simple. It could literally be you putting a to-do, doing, and done, kind of a Kanban board style. Before I went to Notion, one of the more effective ways that I was able to actually do this was I did bullet journaling, where I had one page of it was me writing down the things that I wanted to get done. I would use post-its, notes, or sometimes I would just actually write it down and then cross it off once I actually finished the task. Again, the purpose of this is to really make sure that you don't forget anything, especially when you have this brilliant idea but you just can't take action on it right away. So that's the next step, is having a task database that you can grab your bucket, I usually call it your bucket of ideas, into a place where things can get categorized later. Which brings me to the next step, which is categorizing those tasks. Now this is a system that I've taught a lot of our own clients, a lot of the students that I've had before, and of course something that I I still implement within myself, which is basically using the 80-20 principle when it comes to assessing your tasks. So I call it just 80-20 tasks, where I categorize my tasks between the things that are high value that I like doing, the things that are high value that I don't like doing, it's not my expertise, the things that are not that high value, so probably low value but still needs to get done in the business, and also things that just needs to be eliminated. Now this is a process that I go through probably at least once a week just to make sure that I'm on top of things. So then the way that I categorize this when I'm filtering through my capture file is I'm going to be picking the tasks that are high value and things that I enjoy as things to add into my to-do list, and things that are high value but I don't quite enjoy or not my expertise to my assistant. Now this is something that a lot of people make the mistake of when it comes to delegating tasks, is they try to give their assistant everything, but in reality there's only going to be a few tasks that your assistant can really fully do without your brain. The biggest example that I always give is, for example, let's say your business is just brand new, right? And you want to give the sales to your assistant. You want to like, hey, can you close these for me? Can you close the sales for me? That doesn't work, mostly because they don't know your business, they don't know how you've closed your clients before, and this is probably something that only really you can do. Just like how with my YouTube channel, only I can do the recordings of my videos because all of this is in my head, and then my assistant goes into editing, promoting, and actually I have to do the last part, which is making sure that I post it on all of my private social media channels so other people will find the video. So there's always going to be just a few vital tasks that only you can do, that you can never really delegate to your assistant, that you have to realize. And usually the fastest way to know what that is try to imagine what are the things that if you left your business for 2 weeks that will start falling apart because you weren't there. Because then either you have to create the system to make that better, or those are your vital tasks that again only you can do. And of course you want to figure out if your assistant can actually do these tasks, which brings me to the next step, is after you've categorized tasks, then you want to make sure that when you give it to your assistant, you have clear instructions on what needs to get done. Now, one thing that I've said on this channel a lot is clarity is kind. So you have to make sure that when you're giving something to someone, you're not just throwing it to them, you're giving them the clarity on how to move forward. The reason why you want to put in the time for this, and I know it already sounds a little bit tiresome of like, do I have to give them a deadline? Do I have to give them like a sample? The answer to all of that is yes. You have to give your assistant all the resources that they need to succeed. So whether that is recording yourself for 5 minutes on a screen capture video like Vidyard or Loom to give them the right instructions, or you actually giving them different articles of how you want your blog posts to be written, that is essential when you're first giving them the task. The reason for this is, of course, you want to avoid miscommunications. You want to avoid them putting 10 hours, putting in their best work on something that you didn't really want. So you want to make sure that you are clear with your assistant. What are the priorities? What are the expectations? What are the deadlines? What are the resources? And even what are the sample works that they can follow? You and your assistant, even if you hire someone who's literally in the same city as you, will have different references on what a clean email inbox would look like versus what would you like your email inbox to look like. So you want to make sure that you are clear. You give them tutorials, at least in the first few tasks, because again, you want to give them your point of view of how you want this done. It is your responsibility as the business owner or as the person giving tasks to your assistant to make sure that the instructions are as clear as possible. Next thing you want to set up is have regular check-in meetings. Now what I mean by this is have a time during the week, be once a week, could be twice a week, where you go through the tasks that need to be done in a week, in a month, in a day. So what I mean by this is, for example, for me, for my assistant, we have a meeting every Monday and Thursday, and it's us going through, okay, these are my tasks for this week, these are your tasks for this week, what are the updates, what are the things that you need that might make you feel stuck. Now, a funny example of me doing this is I thought that I was being clear with my assistant on a certain task. She was creating basically our executive assistant etiquette on how our assistants should show up with our clients, and there was one thing that we kept going over and over again that wasn't clear of how I was giving it to her, of how I was instructing it to her. That's why I kept having to go through with it back and forth with her. And if we didn't have those twice a week meetings, that task probably would have just stayed in the back burner and never actually get done. And it was so essential for a business. Again, you have to be clear and you have to do check-ins with them to make sure that they're not stuck spinning in their own head. You can help correct them to get them on the right path. What these regular meetings is basically doing is it's letting you let go and not have to micromanage, because you know that they will give you the update on the certain date. And lastly, once the task is actually done or moved forward by your assistant in some way, you want to make sure that you're giving them constant feedback. Now, there's this book that I really recommend that you guys read if you guys want to manage employees, which is 1 Minute Manager, where you want to give your employees 1 minute praise, 1 minute redirect, helping them set up their goals while working with you. So 1 minute praise is basically giving them like, hey, you're doing really awesome at this. I look forward to you doing this again. 1 minute redirect is basically, hey, you didn't do this as awesome, but I know you can do it. So this is what I expect in the future. And of course, 1 minute goal setting is just making sure that they have the right vision as you on when this task needs to get done and what it looks like once it's actually done. And then you go through that process over and over again. This is where having a task manager or a place where you have all of your tasks written down helps you, because things don't fall through the cracks. You can go through and like, hey, this was never done. Like, hey, why was this task all the way in January? It's already August. Why hasn't it been done? So you have a way that you can go back and check when certain things were supposed to be done or when things were done, like being able to celebrate the win of your assistant for being able to kick off a project you've been thinking of doing for a while. So that is what I mean when you go through this process. All the steps that I've gone through with you are essential to be able to delegate moving forward effectively with your assistant. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button right there and comment below what other tips would you want me to share on how to work with an assistant. Now, if you haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday on how to have an online career, which you guys can check out more videos right here. How to have an online business every Thursday, which you guys can check out the videos right here, and the latest video right here. Now, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!